Welcome to the Fantasy Cheat Sheet. Week 4 already? We're a quarter through the season. Jamie, kick the intro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, that was fast. I can't believe it. We're almost a quarter way through the season. How you doing, Jordan? How you doing, Jamie?
I'm doing good, man. I've been taking a, a lot of L's from guys I like, either going down or just underperforming. But I'm ready to talk a little bit about it.
What about you, Jamie? How you feeling?
I'm doing great in my fantasy leagues. I did get eliminated in the GOAT League, but I kind of was expecting that, and it's just one team off my table, so I can just focus on my other ones.
Yeah, I'm noticing like a lot of people jump in leagues, and I can, especially commissioning so many, I can see the inactives. Like, how is Evan Ingram in your lineup for the last 3 weeks? Like, when I'm scanning through, when I have a chance, I'd be like, there is so many people that just aren't checking their teams, and I'm like, why do you play? It's just weird. Just noticing that week 4, you can kind of see the active people that is setting lineups and going through all the waiver pickups and whatnot. But they stick out like a sore thumb, especially like week 4, and you see somebody when that Kareem Hunt is a bad example now. But you start to see these drops of like, how is that guy still in your team? Like, you just checked your league for the first time in 2 months.
Yep.
It's obvious. You just dropped like 6 people that isn't even on rosters. I'd be like, wow, dude. Wow. But anyway, how about some football? We get a little bit more offense this week, more crazy, wacky stuff. I guess the biggest news to talk about tonight is Rashee Rice ACL injury. I didn't hear whether or not that was confirmed, but it was pretty much set from the jump. What does this mean for the Kansas City Chiefs, and how do you think they're going to counter this catastrophic injury to, I think, their leading pass catcher of the season so far? Let's go with you, Jamie.
Man, I don't know what to think about this because who else do they really have? Worthy, Marquise Brown. When does that dude come back?
He's not coming back until at least the playoffs.
Yeah, so that right there, they lose their best running back. Like, come on, this team is doomed, but they are still going to win. For some reason, they're going to come out with wins after wins after wins. I don't know how they're going to do it, but with Rice, man, geez, he can't serve a suspension until he's actually active too. So that's the bad part.
Like, I'm glad you mentioned that. I am so glad because I wondered about that. I was like, oh, if I was him, I would do a speedy trial or stop delaying my court case to hurry up and get that suspension. But they won't suspend you if you're injured because if you can get it out the way this season, for one, you're already injured. And for two, you make less money. So the game checks you lose will be lesser. If you wait next year, you're going to get the cumulative wage from another year in the league, and it's going to actually cost you more money. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm surprised. I haven't reached out to anybody and asked them how that worked, but I remember somebody having a similar issue. What about you, Jordan? How do you feel about what does this say for the Kansas City Chiefs?
I think it. For me personally, I was high on Mahomes coming into this season, thinking that he had the best set of weapons probably since Tyreek Hill was there. But now with just Worthy, now he's going to have to go back to Justin Watson for the time being. They got some Juju. He's running cardio out there last week. I think they need to make a trade. I know they typically don't do that for a weapon, but I think that and especially not like a high price guy or anything. I don't think they're going to do anything like that. But I think they need an additional weapon. But for now, it just makes me that much less confident in Mahomes as a confident starter every week. Whether that's even in 2 quarterback leagues, and I feel like if you have a Geno, on a given week, I might rather start Geno over him or guys like that. I can't really trust them. They're going to win games like Jamie said, but it's going to be 20-17, 21-14 type of games because the defense is taking over. So I don't really like it for any other weapons except for Worthy and Kelsey. But it's going to be hard to trust Mahomes as like that quarterback you drafted him to be.
Yeah, And we've been kind of seeing that happen last year. And you take away his life and crutch, which has been more so Ramsey Rice than Travis Kelce as of recent. So it's going to be interesting if they just go back to hyper targeting Travis Kelce and go try to force it a little bit more back to what they originally offense looked like. They got Kareem Hunt. I think we'll talk about a little bit about that later. Next
I just want to say one last thing. RIP to my bold prediction of Rice outscoring Kelce. I was on the right track. Unfortunate events, but I'm gonna take a win on this one for the first few weeks until this season-ending injury.
Yeah,
Well,
I had Reggie Rice as my wide receiver 1 going into this week, and then this happens to him. Big L on my part.
Yeah.
Right. Well, next in news. Is it news or is it no news? The practice window for Nick Chubb has opened up last time I checked. Interesting news, no news. How do you guys feel about this? Let's go with you, Jamie, since you're the honorary Cleveland Browns fan.
I mean, the Browns need all the help they can get. They are just so horrible. I don't think putting Nick Chubb in that backfield is going to help them. It's not a player issue. It's got to be coaching, or it might be a Watson issue. Like, get Watson out of there. See what happens. I have no hope for the Browns, man. I'm out on all the Browns. If I have to start Ford, yeah, I'll throw him in there, but I'm not happy about it. When Nick Chubb comes back, you're obviously going to start him. But if they don't get any yards, if they don't score any points, how is he going to get points on a fantasy team? I don't see it.
The one saving grace, I think, is that this is pre-injury, not pre-devastating injury. But for Chubb, he's just so much better than Jerome Ford. Like, I think he's going to create opportunities that Ford didn't see, weren't able to do. But Watson is the problem. Like, he's holding this offense back, and a banged up offensive line as well. Like, because when Watson does have a chance to see someone open, he's getting sacked or he's running for his life, or the ball's bouncing off Amari Cooper's chest for an interception, or he threw like an 80-yard touchdown to Cooper, but it got called back on a holding call. So it just doesn't seem like anything is adding up for them right now. But I do think Chubb is going to be coming back soon. I don't think it's going to be this week, but it's going to be probably next week. And at that point, he's going to be splitting work, I assume, with Ford. For the time being, but I think that means Foreman's out of there. Obviously, Pierre Strong's probably going to be out of there as well. But I can't get excited like I once thought I could at the beginning of the season, just with the way Watson looks and the state of the Browns health-wise overall.
He's currently not making me want to upchuck watching him play in this last 2 games. He looks a little better, and it doesn't feel like he's going to completely take my team by playing him from the eye test. I do think that Nick Chubb, if he's ready, they're going to put him out there sooner than later. And how he wins is more so in an Adrian Peterson style of game with power and vision, not necessarily a cut game. And I'm rooting for him after witnessing that injury. It was one of the worst, other than Sean Livingston, visual injury that I've seen live. Sean Livingston for the Los Angeles Clippers over a decade ago. You young pups don't know him.
I remember.
That was a tough one. But Nick Chubb's injury is pretty gruesome within its own right. And come back and be a Superman. And that offensive line isn't quite what it was before he got the injury. But we'll see. Maybe he's the face of that franchise that they need to snap Watson out of it. There's some alpha males in that huddle that can bring their moxie with them. And if you know this guy, if you witnessed that injury that he had last year and he comes back and laying it all out, you have no excuses. You can't hokey poke around it. I'm being nice about that. If this man comes back and gives it their all, it may be the spirit and the shot in the heart to get that Cleveland team some momentum going in the right direction. They got the
I don't know,
defense
man.
for
I
it.
don't know about that. You put a prime LaDainian Tomlinson back in that backfield, that ain't going to help the Browns.
Like, I'm a Cleveland fan. I'm gonna let you know. Hey, the next in news, which after the wide receiver you on Netflix and me getting to feel like getting to know a little bit behind the scenes about Devontae Adams, is now seeing that he's requested a trade. And I think it was Schefter that reported. So usually sometimes when I hear this, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Those who got the visuals know what I meant. But where the smoke just fire, it was a comment by Antonio Pierce stating that people were making business decisions. And I thought he was talking about a cornerback. But after watching, the talking, yapping heads, they said that was directed to Devontae Adams. The film I seen, he was talking about I think a DB Burns, Olaying like 3 different tackles, the one where he got completely out the way. Those was the business decisions I think that he was referring to. But the media will take that narrative and be like, he was talking to Devontae Adams. And then Devontae Adams after that asked for a trade. Let's go with you, Jordan, this time. What is this? What is this stating for the state of the Raiders? And where might he go?
So for the Raiders, I think it means that it might be a sign that they're going to try to start breaking it all up. The guys that I'm not. Max Crosby was out as well this past week. Not to say that he's going to be part of that. Whatever they're going to start doing or tear down or whatever. But I think Adams is kind of old. He's high priced. I mean, you're not going anywhere right now with the team that you have. So why not get rid of him right now while he still has a lot of value? So I think that they're going to start looking in another direction. They thought they had something when they brought him there. Carr was there. That was his guy. It didn't work out. So now they're kind of starting fresh. They got a quarterback situation that's in flux. They don't know what's going on with that. He's obviously not happy with the quarterback play. He's talked about that, whether on receiver and then going into this year. So they're going to move in a different direction. As far as where he'll end up, I mean, the first place that comes to mind because Aaron Rodgers is there is the Jets. They talked about that. People were hinting at that in the offseason. Every time they talk to each other, that's the rumors that start flying around. So I'd say that I would like for him to go somewhere else. A reunion maybe with the Packers. I know that's not possible, but the way that they lowballed them with the money. But yeah, I'd say if I had to guess, I'd say probably the Jets make a run at him. But yeah, I think this means the Raiders are looking to turn a page and start fresh somewhat.
Jamie, what you say?
So I don't want him to go to the Jets.
Me either. But
yeah, I mean that's like the worst place for him for fantasy, I believe, just because there's other weapons in that offense that we don't want him to eat into. This seems like a perfect timing to go to the Chiefs with Rashee Rice's injury. It just dawned on me like right now. Rice is out. I did read something there. They wanted like a 2nd round and a 3rd round pick for Adams.
Yeah,
that's not that expensive. And I think with the Chiefs, it'll be a later 2nd, later 3rd. They should pay that for him.
They should, but I guess the thing for me is the money. They don't really like to pay guys. They got rid of Tyreek Hill because he was going to start making what Adams is making. So
right.
I don't know.
And then the way they paid the D tackle, where their money is structured, they just let a Pro Bowl cornerback walk because they don't really like moving money like that unless they absolutely need to. And they do patchwork with the wide receiver room. One thing that's crazy, Adams being upset with quarterback play. I don't want to call him a diva or go into like back in the last days of Green Bay. There was some rumbling. I guess that was the money situation. You got the bag. You came to the Raiders. And I know I'm in Oakland. You knew the quarterback situation when you came here.
Yeah.
What did you think? Jimmy G was going to be it? Or you knew before the season started if you was optimistic and you want to keep reiterating the quarterback play? Before wide receiver you on Netflix, I already had a predetermined opinion about Devontae Adams from the little I knew, and then I fell in love with him with that show and just being open and transparent. And now I'm back to like, yeah, you're the guy I thought you was. And I don't know him. That's just personal, but I take receipts. and I bring them with me. That's why I got back problems now because I keep my wallet in my back pocket. But you can't. A turd look like a turd. I don't care what kind of dress you put on it. And I think I lost y'all there. Let's move on to the real or fake. That's all for news. We're going to start with you, Jamie. What's your first real of the week for?
Before I start this, I need to chug a beer real quick.
Okay, let's do that.
Because I feel like we're reaching a milestone on this show when Jamie gets to what he's talking about. I can't wait to hear this. I'm locked in.
My reel of the week is none other than Kyron freaking Williams. I know. I know.
Oh, you said it. Okay.
I said it. Clip it. But honestly, this is more about the running back situation in that offense as opposed to the actual player. But I got to give props to the player right now. He had a touchdown every week so far this year. He had 2 touchdowns in one of his weeks. I just got to say it's time to say that this is a real thing that's happening. Will it last? I'm going to say probably not, but right now it's happening. I got to admit it. So just keep in mind that oh man, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but
it sounds painful.
just keep in mind that you could put any other running back, the worst running back in the league, like Alexander Madison, in this backfield, and he will be a top 5 running back. So this does give me hope for all my quorum shares in Dynasty for the future. So I'm going out right now. I'm buying all the quorum I can for real cheap. But Jordan, is this going to be one of those takes where like I finally come out and say it and then it just fails?
If that was your logic for coming out and doing this to save face with the Blake Corum shares, then maybe. But no, I think, I agree with you, man. I don't think Kyron is a very good running back either, but it was just all about his role. That's what it's always ever been about, the situation, the fact that the Rams like to use only one guy. And even though Stafford has sucked since his receivers went down, the run game has looked better. I mean, Kyron averaged 4.9 yards a carry Sunday against a good Bears defense. So I think it is a real thing. He scored a touchdown every week, and it hasn't just been like his days haven't really been saved by the touchdowns. It's enhanced them, which is different than a guy who's just been touchdown dependent. I don't feel like that's him. I feel like in this offense, for as long as he's healthy, he's going to continue to produce. I think the problem is going to be his health. That's the only thing I think that's going to stop him from being productive at that position.
Yeah, the first 2 weeks it was saved by that touchdown because he was only getting like 1 or 2.1, 2.9 carry. But last week, he's more involved in the receiving. This week, I mean, he looked great this week, so I had to put props out there for him.
Reg, what you think about Kyron?
I don't think he's starting to make me believe he's more than just a guy to handle that wet workload at that size, and he's the only thing in town. The fact that they are a patchwork crew at wide receivers and he's still able to do this is impressive to me. And follow the money because he's getting money on carries now, and that's a little bit scary. A couple of weeks ago, I was picking up Ronnie Rivers in the expectations that this wouldn't last, and he keeps saying, "Hold my freaking beer," right? I'll drink to that. But no. One thing that's I've noticed because I've been keeping track of Ronnie Rivers because nobody wants him. His snap share has been going up. Corum hasn't, and I don't. That's weird to me. You're not getting no run. Are you messing around with the coach's wife? What the hell did you do? You were the most coachable player come out of the draft, NFL ready. That's not the term that they were throwing around. Like you're a coach's dream. Why can't you get on the field? That's not news, but we'll see.
I believe a couple weeks ago he did get 8 carries.
Yep.
Garbage time.
But the thing is, Ronnie Rivers Ronnie Rivers, he's the true backup, but Quorum is the replacement for Kyron.
Yeah.
So if Kyron goes down, I think Quorum takes over. Ronnie Rivers still stays the backup.
Well put. Well said. So I'm gonna toss you right into your fake, Jamie. And it took me a minute. I don't know how. Paying attention is not my strong point. Like you were in your last take, and I seen the jersey over your shoulder, and I just lost it. You didn't brought up Alexander Madison. Just talking about Kyrie. You got a jersey. That jersey always there, and I'm just now noticing it.
No, I put that there last week.
Okay,
all right. Show that we didn't have.
Yeah, and then I didn't make it. I was coming back from vacation, and I heard the story the next day because I was looking for it. I was trying to catch you guys. I was like, did I miss it or did it not happen? But he told me what happened. So let's go into your next one. What's your fake week 5?
So my fake is Mr. DeAndre Swift. So I'm sticking with the same game right here. I don't know, like he's been ass for the first 3 weeks, right?
That's a nice way.
He started losing touches to his backups. But this past week, like everyone was benching him. Everyone. He was only starting in like 42% of the leagues. So people were giving up on him. And then he comes out and does this. Like,
no, I'm not raising my hand. I was one.
We're going to see him like being put back in the lineups this week, obviously, after this big week. But I think it's going to be a mistake putting him back in your lineups. We see it every week. People are going to be point chasing. It just doesn't always work out. Like his snaps is still the same from week 1 to now. He's only getting 60% of the snaps, and he's not getting any of the goal line work. What changed? This week he got 41% of the target share. That's not going to happen when A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith comes back. So there's no way this is going to be a regular thing for DeAndre Swift. I'm still out on him. Even after this big game, I would
wait. You jumped teams. You went to
Philadelphia. You thinking about last?
Wait.
I was gonna let him finish, but he's talking about last year. You mentioned Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, but
you thinking Swift is on a freaking my bad. I keep thinking Swift is on the freaking Eagles. Anyway, but still, even without like he isn't going to see 41% of the targets at all. I don't see that happening at all. He's lucky to get like a 15% share at best. Shoot, now I'm all flustered. Dude, I've done this so many times, dude. I did this on someone else.
I listen to our shows, so I hear the things I think I'm saying versus the things that I actually say. So when you said it Monday night, and I'll get your opinion on this in a second. We have a thinner show sheet, so I think we can go a little longer on topics. Monday night in my bedroom, I had the Titans game on, and I had the Seahawks game on in the living room. On both TVs, it said they were on ESPN. They weren't. And I was going back and forth. I don't know why I wouldn't flip back and forth, but I was cleaning or something. But I was so confused because I didn't really put two and two together that there was 2 games on till after the first quarter. But both screens had each scores. I was, what is happening here? And I was like, oh, it's 2 games on, and these are not the same channel. But it took way too long for me to realize that. It sucks. Like, I was ashamed that I didn't put that together. But yeah, so
basically, I'm still out on Swift, man. Sell high on them. Find those people that are going to be point chasing. Like Reggie, like what do you think about this big Swift week? Like, can he keep it up, or is it just one of those like Swift moments?
He looks good on the eye test, but I'm gonna Jordan to go first. I'll take it last.
Yeah, I think for this week he had that long run, which they looked like vintage DeAndre Swift on that run. But I think it was more of just a matter of the matchup. They exposed the Rams a little bit. You can run on the Rams as the Lions showed earlier this season. But I also think, it's going to be hard for people to sit them not only because of point chasing, but, the bye weeks are starting. Montgomery and Gibbs are going to be out. Pollard is going to be out. So, they're going to have some guys that'll be out. So the Bears playing against the Panthers. So that's a decent matchup for him. So he's going to be trotted out there again. I just hope, managers shouldn't expect him to do what he did last week. Getting 7 catches for 70 yards. Like, how often can you rely on that? Especially like with a rookie quarterback who he's not really known for throwing to the running backs like that. It's more improv. If I have to, I'm going down, I'll toss it to you, and then you run with it. Nothing really designed. So, I think I like Swift. I thought he would be better than this. I'm not ready to give up on him yet, but I think he could be like an RB3. Nothing more to me. Moving forward, his backups are going to continue to get work, whether that is the legend Roshan or Khalil Herbert, whoever. Herbert has kind of been a non-factor these last 2 weeks, but moving forward, I think this may have been something that opened the Bears' eyes, the way they are using him, the different types of runs or whatever. So I think he will be better moving forward, but just you can't expect him to do anything in this earshot on a consistent basis because he's just never been a consistent player, regardless of what team he's been on.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that this was one of the things where he looked so horrible. The defense was just like, let him have it. like it was one of those things, the feast or famine. We're going to try to stop this quarterback from getting on rhythm in this pace. Like you mentioned, he's not known for going to the running back. He was like, I'm eating over here, B. I'm going to keep going to it. There may be some rhythm, some momentum from Swift to Caleb to know in a pinch that he has that possibility to get chunk plays in that situation. And they paid Swift. So I think they're going to keep trotting him out. And we've seen this from another running back. I don't know if he's on the show sheet, but I'm learning. I'm not going to bring him up. But when somebody hears that's probably too loud. Knocking on, I got a bit of bump for that. Knocking on a door, somebody looking over your shoulder, people play a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I think this was more so of the defense was giving that away to see what they can capitalize on more than anything. And I'm not a believer. This is a good fake, Jamie. And I think this is Roshan propped up. But
we'll talk about him later.
Oh, sorry. I did it again.
So last year about this time, Swift had like a huge game just like this. And I sold him for a 2024 first round pick straight up for Swift. Nice. That pick ended up being Marvin Harrison Jr.
Nice.
So if you can capitalize and get what you can out of Swift now, just do it.
I agree. But yeah. But whatever. We'll circle that wagon. Jordan, you're up. I really like your reel on this next one. Week 5, reel of the week from Jordan. What you got for us?
Josh Downs, man. And this is whether Joe Flacco plays or not. I just think he is a weapon that Anthony Richardson would rely on. Last week, even in a poor game that they played, he had 5 targets just in his first game back. Adnan Mitchell down, Alec Pierce now down. He get a deep shot or two, but this is a guy that the quarterbacks in Indianapolis, regardless of who it is, a safety blanket, intermediate routes. Pittman is going to get his too. I would really, as much as I love AR, man, those receivers were eating with Flacco, and it looked good. Richardson's dealing with a hip pointer. Don't know. He says it's nothing serious, but he may miss a game. Maybe, who knows? We'll check practice reports later this week to find out for sure. But yeah, I like Downs, man. I think they can pick up this momentum with him as that safety blanket, safety net guy that they need. He's not going to get the toughest matchup. He can exploit whatever over the middle of the field. I like it. I think he's not going to be 8 for 80 with a touchdown every week. Not going to do that. But I definitely think he can get you solid wide receiver 3 numbers, between 10, 15 points per week.
Jamie, how you feeling about Josh Downs after a nice week?
Yeah, I like that. I was off of Downs going into last year. There's rookie season. And then this year I was more on him because I wasn't a big A.D. Mitchell fan. I thought he was going to be more of a replacement for Alec Pierce. I thought Downs, coming off of his injury, when he comes back, he was going to just eat in the slot. And that's what seems like is happening. And if Joe Flacco is going to be quarterback, I would want him 100% more in my starting lineups, as opposed to like if Richardson was in there, like I would think he would be on the bubble. Like, do I start Downs?
Mm-hmm.
But with Flacco, yeah, he is 100% real. Even with Richardson, I think Downs is going to be a great player for this future. So I love this take.
Great take here. I think during preseason and training camp, all the buzz was about Downs before that ankle injury. So I was loving where I was getting him in drafts, and the play style of a Hendon Hooker and an AR Richardson is kind of the same skill set. I guess Hendon doesn't run as much and I think that's where Downs came from at Tennessee. So I think they're a match made in heaven as far as play styles. And everybody seemed to forget that Josh Downs last year, with missing time, broke the Colts rookie receiving yardage record. So he's been extremely underrated. I think it was Reggie Wayne, not Marvin Harrison, but don't quote me on that. And everybody seems to forget the talent that he came into the league with. He has been plagued by injuries most of last year and to start the year off now. But those targets that Alex Pierce is getting is probably more than likely going to Josh Downs. Like everybody else has cooled off. I'm glad that Michael Pittman showed up last week because I faded them both after a 9-pass performance the week before. Like, yeah, nope. And it came back to bite me, cost me a couple of wins. But hopefully I'll be smarter about that in the future. Now, what we got is some fakes from my man Jordan. And this was a little shocker. And let's talk about your next fake.
I think it's Jordan Addison. I like him as a talent. It's just more so about the pass volume of the Vikings. They're bottom 6 in the league. I think is 26 pass attempts per game. 26 pass attempts per game. I mean, Sam Darnold has been hella efficient, but like Addison had 4 targets. That was less than Aaron Jones. Hawkinson isn't back yet. They're still getting Naylor involved as well. Like, I just don't see it being like Justin Jefferson is not eating like we're used to him eating. He's been efficient with the targets and good, but like those big 100-yard, 8-catch games, they're not having to do that because the defense is shutting everybody down. Sam Darnold's picking his spots. I just see that continuing with the different amount of weapons they have. Obviously, Jefferson's at the top with the bullet at the top of that pecking order. Then after that, it's kind of like getting where you fit in. Addison had a rushing touchdown, which helped boost his day. Not something you can rely on a regular basis. It's just anytime I see a team score 31 points and you have 4 targets, it's just like, I don't know if I can trust you moving forward. And they've played well without him. Naylor stepped in and had boom bust weeks. So like, he's a good talent. If they were chasing points a lot of games, I would be more in, but I don't see them having to do that. And so then you got to rely on the pass volume or like the game script to determine whether you can trust Addison or not. And I just don't want to have to do that moving forward.
Well put together. Jamie, what do you think about the fake for Jordan with Jordan Addison?
When I saw his name on the show sheet, I was going to try to argue as hard as I can against this, but I just can't. Even if you look at his last year numbers, like when he's seen 4 targets, he wasn't really doing much. Like he needs those 8, 9, 10 targets to be in the top 20. So if he's only going to see 4 targets a game, I don't even want anything to do with him in my lineups, not even as like a deep flex. So yeah, I have to agree with you, Jordan. This was a fake performance. Like you said, he had that rushing touchdown. Without that, like he wouldn't have put up anything.
Well, he caught a touchdown too, so he would have had that. I think it was like 3 or 4 for 70, 3 for 72 and a touchdown receiving, and then he had the rushing touchdown for 7 yards. So he would have still had a decent day, but it's just like having to rely on that. Now, obviously, I don't think he's going to average just 4 targets a game, but I think it'll be in that 4 to 6 range, and I think he needs a little bit more than that, unless the Vikings defense falls apart and then they're getting shootouts every week, which is possible. but it's not looking likely right now with the way that defense is putting a chokehold on teams.
Yeah, I'm seeing he only got like a 16% target share so far in the games that he played this year. I need more than that, especially with a low volume passing offense.
It was a little surprising because I think we're at least about 3 or more weeks out before Hawkinson rejoins this team. Maybe, and then once he does, I'm pretty sure they're going to probably slowly ramp them up because they're playing really well. I know they want him out there, but the kind of targets that Jordan Addison is going to get, being opposite of JJ, are valuable targets. I don't think they're going to blanket coverage. They're going to slide coverage over. So you're going to get these matchups and these situations that are going to be, you're not going to need 8 targets to be flex worthy or wide receiver 3 worthy. And he does have talent, regardless of what happens between the ears. I did look up last night. Naylor had, I think, week 1, 29% snap share. Don't quote me. I'm going to get better with this because Jordan, I gotta bring the game. I gotta bring it when you come because you talk so well. And then he went up to like Naylor did, went to 79 and then 88. I'm not looking at it. I looked at it earlier. I'm looking at Jordan's name. And then last week he went back down to 29. So he immediately went back to his old role because that's what he started the season at, 29. And when Addison came back, he's back to the same snap percentage, which means Jordan didn't lose his job, even though Naylor was productive. But those targets are going to be valuable targets. We have a couple more weeks for this value to possibly grow a little bit more because it took a hit with the card thing and then suspension looming. So we need that to go up before I sell, and it might be valuable because you mentioned we got those bye weeks coming. All right, that's good stuff, y'all. Good stuff. We'll go with my reel, and this is scary because I was doing this last night as I was going over some stuff, and I hate my reel now because I forgot about somebody. But my reel was Kareem Hunt. Familiar with the offense. The offense is going to need him now that Ramsey Rice is no longer available, and availability is the best ability. They have to rely on Kelsey. They got to rely on Watson. They got to rely on all the other guys. And guess who is probably on the final couple of holes of his career, and he's back in a place where I'm pretty sure he wished he never left. He's home again, and this is a redemption tour. Carson Steele, might say bye-bye to that guy because Kareem Hunt looked like he had some juice. He was able to split time last year in Cleveland, and I was like, what the hell? He does not look okay. A little bit I seen last week, he looks okay. And we do have a CEH return coming soon, and he's younger. Maybe he's got his head all right. I hope the young man, nothing but good. But this situation is just, nasty. I would say, I don't know how you can sell. I see people putting Hunt on the trading block. I'm not touching it. I tried to get rid of Carson Steele, and nobody's like, you're a little late on that one, buddy. Like, this whole situation with this offense is crazy, and I don't have faith in Patrick Mahomes to be the quarterback, like we mentioned before, that we drafted. And Kareem Hunt might be the guy to own, but we just don't know. So this is like a fake diamond for my reel because I do not stand behind this. Jamie, how do you feel?
This is perfect timing, man, because the Chiefs fan, Mike, dropped the Mike FF, just popped in the chat saying what's up to us. So, Mike, man, I just want to say, Hunt, this has to be like the steal of free agency, right? You get this guy, he comes in, he gets 14 carries. How many targets did he get? 2, 3 targets.
Yeah.
Imagine if he got a touchdown.
Right.
Everyone would be just blowing their crap. Like, let's put 100% fab on Hunt. But the touchdowns is going to come because especially with the news with Rice and everything. Yeah, no, if they're going to use Hunt in this role, getting 14, 15 carries plus a week, he is going to be like a must start in this offense.
Drop the mic. Thank you for pulling up. We miss you. We'll see you next week. Is that all our total volumes, individual volumes? Because I noticed we're a little lower than usual myself. And
Oh,
thank
he
you for
probably
that.
has his mic turned down because he's probably at the hospital.
Got you.
Yeah. I like you said, Reggie, I think it's gonna be messy. It was already messy this past week. Carson still got the start fumbled. Thankfully for anybody who had Kareem Hunt. And then Hunt got his opportunities, and then Hunt had a drive where he brought them down the field. They were inside the 5, and then P. Ryan got the touchdown, and it was just like, what the heck? So you can just kind of expect things like that to happen. You don't know how they're going to use them moving forward. I would anticipate with the performance he had that he's going to be the guy next week. But then after that, when CH comes back, who knows? We may be playing this musical chair running back until Pacheco's healthy. Who knows? Like I still want to have whoever that guy is going to be in that offense, because without the receivers, like we thought it was going to be a shift. They were at the beginning of the year, we were high on Mahomes. Then Pacheco looked great. Then Pacheco got hurt, so it's like, oh, okay, it's Rashee Rice, but now Rice is out, so now it's back to the running back. So it's just that's exactly what it looks like.
That's where we at right now.
I'm glad for everybody who I guess passed on Carson Steele and waited for Hunt. I remember, Reg, you said you would rather Hunt in that scenario. Ride it out as long as you can. I don't know if you can do anything trade wise. I don't know who's biting on that and what you can get. Just wait it out and see how it looks. But I think he's trending up for sure.
For sure. I guess we're going to pivot that to my real and fake. It's been a busy day and it's super hot. We'll go over, drop on down to the Underdog read of the week. Take it away, Jamie.
Underdog read. All right. I gotta pop this up real quick.
You got it. I'll take the mic for a second. I gotta get a couple of run throughs in the mirror, and I'll do it one day.
All right, so Underdog read. Are you ready to take your fantasy team to the next level? Look no further than Underdog. They have a user-friendly platform. It's easier to draft your team and compete for huge cash prizes. The best part is if you use promo code GF2 when you sign up, they will match a deposit up to $250 bonus bucks. That's right, $250. Start winning money now. You could do your weekly winning DFS teams. You got your higher, lower picks. So don't wait. Head over to Underdog. Use that promo code GF2. Start drafting today.
Yes, indeed. I was going to do, I love Underdog. Everybody here at Going for Two loves Underdog. I'm just jumping into doing the picks of the week for the Underdog over-unders. And the last 2 weeks, I wasn't here last week. I was on vacation, but 2 weeks prior, I was able to pull them up. I can show you guys. They're not loading on my computer, but I bet you they'll load on my phone. There's two different experiences, and I'm not talking mad smack about our sponsor, but they're not the same. Earlier before the show, I went to go do my picks, and it was just spinning wheel on my computer. And then now it's not spinning wheel no more, but there's none available. So sorry about that, everyone. We'll try to get you some picks next week. And the week before my vacation, I was one pick off from going 5 for 5. I should have looked at it again, but I almost nailed that one. And I know in the back of my head which one it was. You guys will remember, but I was 4 out of 5 on my over-unders the week before. Yeah, but let's get back to the show. Sorry about that, everyone. We'll get you guys back on track with those over-unders from Underdog, and make sure to use that code to get you some monies. It's a lot of fun, everyone. So the host of the week, Jamie's buy and sell player of the week. What you got for us?
I got some Ohio State players coming at you. My first buy is going to be Garrett Wilson. Like right now, I believe he's like wide receiver 38 on the year. He's coming off his worst game of the season. This is the best time to buy players like that. Like off their low weeks, people that aren't doing too well. He's got that elite talent. He faced some of the best cornerbacks in the NFL these past 4 weeks, and he's still getting a great target share. I believe it's like 25%, if I'm correct. This week, he faces a horrible Vikings secondary, so go put some offers out for him, see what you get. He's going to be a top 5 receiver this week, guaranteed. Like the person who drafted him at late first, early second, they're probably 0-4. So go try to buy them. You give them a couple pieces that can help them score some points. But little do they know, Wilson is going to blow up soon. So take advantage, buy low before this week starts, and you're going to reap the reward. What do you guys think about Garrett Wilson going forward?
So I'm torn on this topic. Going into the season, I was all in on Garrett Wilson because I was in on the rapport with Rodgers, all the hype. But just watching the game so far this season, I know he's been shadowed by Snead. He's been shadowed by Christian Gonzalez, Pat Surtain this last week. I understand all of that, but you got to produce. I mean, he is like one of the only elite receivers where I have to worry about his matchup so much. Like, I never had to worry about Devontae Adams when he was going up against anybody with Rodgers. I just never had to do that. And, like, I feel like with this offense, I have to continuously watch matchups and hope that he has a bad matchup in order to produce more than 11 fantasy points without being saved by a short touchdown. Like, I'm just not liking the way that it's looking. And, that may get better, but I'm not as high on buying low on him as I was a couple of weeks ago because, like, the Jets are poorly coached, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So, like, overall, I'm just starting to become out on their offense and outside of Breece Hall. So I'm if I can buy super low on him, yeah, I do it. But like if I have to give up anybody that I like that's not projected to be as good as him, I'm not doing it because you just don't know what you're gonna get.
I'm in a mix. If I'm a contender, I don't think I'm buying him. If I'm like 500, I'm on the fence, don't think I got a chance, I might buy him for next year. But then again, who's going to be his quarterback? If this doesn't go well, is Aaron Rodgers going to ride off into the night? Will he be back next year? And I think a second year chemistry is kind of needed. Adams took 3 years to get the chemistry down with Rodgers and whatnot, and he is a particular individual. And Garrett Wilson is him, but I don't throw this around. The word love is thrown around way too much, but I don't throw around shut down cornerbacks or a corner you can put on the island. And Patrick Surtain's son, Junior, is he a junior? He is him. Don't get it confused. They don't really put people on the island as much as they used to back in the Revis Island days. But that's a bad boy. You can hold Garrett Wilson down 1 week, Mike Evans the week before, and who was it? Like
DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf. If your wide receiver is going up facing that man, I don't know if he follows people. Does he? Do you guys know if he follows the wide receiver? Or does he play on one side? I think he plays on one side.
Oh, I thought he followed, but
he doesn't follow, right? He doesn't shadow. I don't know. I'm not sure, but that man, woo, he is him. So Garrett Wilson, it depends on where I'm at. If I'm contending, I'm not buying. I'm a big fan of him, but I liked him at the 109 at this last year rookie draft. The year before, I got him in the early second, back of the second, a bunch of times this year, and I'm surviving. I think it should turn around because he's going to get the volume. Hopefully Mike Williams doesn't show up at some time or take any of that target volume. I know we mentioned earlier we don't want Devontae Adams to go there because you would pretty much be blowing that hope out the window because he'll get hyper targeted by Aaron Rodgers like snap. You would like Garrett who? I'm buying, but it depends. Not if I'm a contender. I don't want to deal with what might be a wide receiver 2 season. Which,
right, and then like with the name, you got to feel like you have to play them, but then you got guys on your bench who's out producing them, and then it's like, what do I do? And then
right.
So I don't know. If I need a win, if you're taking Jamie's advice and he's going to blow up this week, if you need a win, go get him before he blows up. So that may help you, but I don't know how much you can count on it with the way that this Jets offense is looking with the inconsistency.
Right. And then, the people, it's week 4. There's so many people that are panicked. It's not even, it's past panic. They're like, oh, we're going to pack it up. I'm going to try to get the 1-on-1. All right, you know what? I'm not going to make it. I'm 0-8 in the median league. Some guy told me, yeah, I'm going to, like, dude, this is median. Like, you got a lot more games left to go. But okay, you can sneak into the playoffs. Let me get this, and that off you. I've got people reaching out for me, and I'll have, like, DeAndre Swift, for example, on the trading block. And someone like, what you want for Barkley? I'm like, dude, I'm 4-0. Why would I trade you Barkley? Oh, you can see DeAndre Swift on the trading block. Yeah, I don't want him. Of course you don't. And then when somebody says, hey, what do you want for what? You're asking me, what's the cheapest I can pay you for player X? I hate it. But let's move on. Jamie, what is your week 5?
So,
sell of the week.
So these are more of redraft right now, buys and sells. Obviously, no one's going to sell Garrett Wilson that cheap in Dynasty. So in a redraft, yeah, if you can get them for someone you drafted in the 7th, 8th round that's going off right now, possibly do that. But one guy I'm trying to sell is another Ohio State receiver, is JSN, Jackson Smith Najigba.
Ohio boy.
He's just been so inconsistent this year so far. Like week 1, he had a great matchup. Jaquan McMillan, I believe he faced. I thought he was going to blow up. He only had 2 targets that week. This week, he had an even better matchup. The cornerback, what's his name, Robertson. This dude allowed Kupp to get 32 fantasy points. He allowed Godwin to get 27 or 24 fantasy points. JSN gets 12 targets. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. But he only got 13 points.
I mean,
how do you get 13 points off of 12 targets? Against a horrible cornerback. Like their nickel cornerback sucks. So I was expecting a blow-up game from him. Yeah, he didn't do horrible, but still it's just that inconsistency. I don't think you're going to know when to play him and when his big games are going to be happening. So maybe just try to get out from under him, get a running back, put him in your roster instead of the JSN. Do I decide to start him in your flex?
Yeah, I agree, man. I don't want any other pass catchers on Seattle outside of DK Metcalf, really. Outside of DK Metcalf.
You thought I froze, huh?
No, so yeah, I'll take DK and then Lockett and JSN kind of get the rest. You don't know when it's going to be their week. So yeah, I can see selling, see what you can get. I mean, he is getting the volume for people who either like him or see that volume, thinking that better days are ahead, which there might be. You may be able to get a little bit more for him. So yeah, I like him as a player, but I think if you can get something for him, I wouldn't mind selling.
You so know how to pick them, Jamie, on your buys and sells of the week. Not only are they Ohio's, but they're near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. You're going to cause a riot in chat. But the selling of Jackson Smith and Jigma, which sucks, is because I told you guys about my little 2 TVs going at the same time running back to. Yeah. I don't know. The color of the uniforms were pretty similar too. Oh, mine was blown Monday night. So he looked amazing, but I had something else going on in my head. But because you say he had 13 targets, it looked like 40 targets. Like they just kept feeding him, and Lockett's still involved, and that offense looks awesome. Like I was just like, Gino. Like, you guys are destroying. Okay, which game was that? Was that the Dolphins? The Dolphins was Titans. Detroit offense was the one that was awesome. Wait a minute. See, like, I had to reel that back for a second. I was having issues on that night, but he is the future of that franchise, especially if it's a full PPR. He's going to get He's going to be fed the easy layups, and he just looked really good. I got to go back and watch some more. I had it on the DVR. Both those games I got to watch over again because they're broken. But Jamie, I'll look at the coverage and look at some of those throws because some of the usage and where he was used because he had a low ADOT last year, and it looks like even if he has a low ADOT, he's producing after the catch a lot better. He's looked like he's getting a lot more comfortable. We're seeing the player that was at Ohio State his sophomore year. Because he didn't play his junior year. He sat out, right? With that year before he sat out, that's looking like him again. Let's move on. I think we both covered the sale on Jackson. What is our time? Did we go an hour?
We're good.
Okay. All right. So Jordan, you got a topic.
Yeah. This is just more of like we could be quick on it, but I just wanted to get you guys' perspective. Trevor Lawrence, man, what are we doing with him? I just feel like, we gave him a pass for his rookie year with Urban Meyer and the stuff he had going on. He had a good year to start off last year. Obviously, he got hurt, but it has never reached what the hype was around him, and it looks like he's regressed. He's missing throws. He's only thrown for over 200 yards one time this season so far. Obviously, the Jags are 0-4. We had high hopes for him with Brian Thomas, Kirk, Ingram. Now, Ingram's been hurt, so, he hasn't had that safety valve. But, they have the weapons. Doug Peterson, maybe it's him. I don't know, but I just want to get you guys' thoughts on him overall. What are we seeing? What are you guys seeing, and what do you think about him long term from a fantasy perspective, and then also just from a real life perspective? Because I think for me, I'm done viewing him as a quarterback I want to have in fantasy, altogether. And in 1-2 quarterback leagues, I don't want him at all because I just feel like he looks broken right now.
Yeah, he's looking like a mid-level fantasy producer. I can't even start him in my super flex. What is he getting? Like 12 fantasy points per game? That's less than Jacoby Brissett, dude.
His best week was this past week where he scored 14.8.
Yeah, that's horrible. He's only throwing the ball deep 5 times a game. I saw.
And when he's doing that, it's way over their head. So
he's just not looking good. And I actually dropped him. I don't play in many single quarterback leagues, but I dropped him last week and picked up Justin Fields. And I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
I didn't know if Justin Fields was going to start all year, but I looked at the way Lawrence was playing, and I was like, I don't even care. I don't even want Lawrence on my team. So I made the move. It worked out for me. But for real fantasy or real football, he's not going anywhere. There's obviously 10 to 15 quarterbacks that are worse than him. It's just so hard to get a franchise quarterback. So they aren't going to give up on him, but I just don't see him producing for fantasy.
Right. I think he's the new Derek Carr. That's what my comparison. It seems like the career arc. I think he'll still be an okay NFL quarterback, but for fantasy, I don't know what happened to the athleticism we saw back at Clemson. What happened to that guy who could step to the line of scrimmage, and it seemed like he was working at a pro level of reading defenses, and it just doesn't seem like any of that is happening. Of course, like you mentioned, the blanky Evan Ingram has always been pretty much available, and he makes a difference, and it's like the major cog in that offense. So that could be hurting him a little bit because has Evan Ingram played one game this year?
Yeah, he played the first game.
The first game. So that could be a part of it. I don't know. I just think he'll be a good NFL quarterback. But the new coming of Peyton Manning or whatever we thought he was, the Golden Boy from the movie with Denzel Washington, to Remember the Titans, whatever we thought he was.
Unshot.
Yeah, I don't know what it is because I don't even see the athleticism. I don't see a lot of Jaguar games, but even some of he's doing some some Will Levis type performances right now. This is something you expect from Will Levis.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to grow a beard to get that
Right.
power.
Something has to happen, and
like
soon.
a mustache or something.
They paid him, so Peterson is gone. He's
Yeah.
he's going to be the sacrificial lamb of this team. All right, we'll move on, and this will be a quick one. I just say Denver D, if you can get them, go look at their schedule. I picked them up Saturday last week, because it forgets me now who they play this week, but there's a couple of games. Oh, Raiders. They're playing the Raiders this week. So, and I think I have another defense where I'm just carrying two defenses, and I'm going to flip-flop Denver and whoever the other defense that's doing extremely well. Look at their defense, look at the schedule. If you are playing with defenses, look at the defense you have, and it might be a time to pivot. There's also some kickers that are underperforming and some names I don't even know that are performing. Take a look at your special teams if you play with any of them in fantasy. That is the buy from the network. We'll go on.
Well, real quick.
Go for it.
We don't play with kickers at going for two. So we don't need to talk about the kickers, but for Denver, I thought that was a great call because I'm in a all IDP league and we do start a defense, right? And I was looking at Denver on the waiver wire, and I think I have Dallas, and I put in a waiver wire for Denver because I saw that they were facing the Raiders, the Chargers, Saints, and Panthers, I believe, the next 4 weeks. So yeah, that definitely a good opportunity to get them.
Yeah. And I do believe it took me a while to come around. I've been playing Dynasty for 5 years. I do not believe kickers or defenses belong in Dynasty. You can't really trade them. They're not static from year to year. It's just like a wasted position you have to run through. And I run 16 leagues, and some people still like them, some don't. I tell them we're not doing both unless it's redraft. And in Dynasty, if we vote, you're not getting both. You're getting one or the other or neither. Good call. It's one of those things I have to explain over time why there's such a bad idea in Dynasty. But I agree. Going for two, we don't do kickers. I love it. But I'm trying. I am so trying. Can I convince y'all to listen to the commission once? Please. There is some free redraft leagues that Amazon plays the winners of both these leagues. So I like keeping kickers and defenses for the randomness of it, because nobody pays money for dues, but they get money at the end of the year. So it's one of those things, those curveballs, that I like it in that aspect. But oh my goodness, in Dynasty, I wish I had no leagues with no defense, no kickers. I'm trying, but it's hard to get rid of both. Gotta get the people what they want, But thank you. That's not my Mike rants of the week. You know what ticks me off? These fantasy neurons that goes off in my brains when it's a Monday night game and there's two games on, saying they're both on ESPNs. I want to ask you guys, after I go on this Mike rant for a minute, how y'all feel about those two Monday night games? I think that's happened twice already this year. I think last year we had a double header, which, don't get me wrong, I'm here for more football on a Friday night, but it kind of throws me off from, I'm almost 50 freaking years old. When you introduce something new to me, like new kickoff rules, you got to spoon feed that to me in small doses. Then you start messing with the schedule in the same year. You understand I take magnesium for memory? Like, you're doing the wrong thing to me. You know what ended up happening? And I got 39 teams. I didn't understand there was two games on Monday night. Oh, poor me. I won 30 of 39 games last week. That's not true, but it felt like it. So I'm going to take the W. These fantasy neurons that's just firing all my brains. The juggernauts I have from last year, I have a team that went to the ship last year. They have yet to win. I have a startup from this year, 12-team Superflex. I punted purposely. They're 4-0. Make it make sense. Question, Jamie, Jordan, how do you feel about trading a player you're facing in this upcoming week? I did a really dish canoe move. Somebody wanted to trade me for Daniel Jones. So I was like, somebody with no quarterback points last week beat me, so I'm not trading. I don't care what you offer me, and I barely won by 2 points. How do you guys feel about trading people you're playing up in the current week? And I forgot my other question. I'm out of breath.
I mean,
Jamie.
Depends on the player. If I'm looking at a guy that I'm facing and he needs a player, I'm going to make him overpay for him. That's hands down. like if you want this guy, you're gonna put up one of your other starters that is gonna be taken out of your roster to be put on my roster to get this guy. It's just simple, man. Like I don't give up players for free.
Right. I think before the week, and I tell him like, dude, I'm sorry. You offered me a second for Daniel Jones. I'm like, it's a starting quarterback, it's a super flex. That's the floor. And I'm facing this week. Let's talk after the week. The week passed. I won by 2 points. I was like, see why I didn't trade him? If I would have traded him, he would have won. Right. So I said, so I didn't say anything. He offered me a third for Daniel Jones after I played him. I was like, that ain't how this works. They're like, it's a super flex. You want him for free. I'm sorry, dude.
He said,
how do you feel?
Started thinking Daniel Jones didn't throw a touchdown, so his value decreased.
Yeah, right.
But, I agree, man. I'm not against it. And also, I think it kind of depends on what my record is. Like if I'm 0-4 and I need a win, it depends on what that deal is because I need to make sure that I secure a win. If I'm giving them the win, then you might have knocked your own self out the playoffs. But if I'm 4-0, I can afford to take a L if I'm getting a better player long term. So I think it all depends on where you are in the standings and how that's looking for you moving forward. But I'm not against it. And in leagues I have with friends, nobody ever trades, so it's just frustrating.
Right. Yeah, I think the week before the juggernaut that was in the ship last year, that 1-4 team, lost to a team that started Tua, and I think he had 9 points. No, it wasn't Tua, it was somebody else. But this guy is hardly ever active, and he did a victory lap on me the next day. Like, dude, you play your round, and I just beat you. I'm like, dude. So I took it personal in another league. He's like, let me get a quarterback. I'm like, this lame-o just beat me and did a victory lap on me and didn't get no quarterback points. I'm like, nope, you're paying for the guy from last week, and I almost lost again. I almost no QB points. I'm like, this year is crazy. Like, there's a guy who has 4 running backs, and he has the 4 top running backs in that league. And I'm like, dude, I'm lucky. How did I pick the right 4? Like, you didn't go 0 RB. Or you went 0 RB and just picked the 4 exact right ones as the top 4 running backs.
So, before we move on to our cheat of the week, I see there's a trade question in the chat.
Ooh, we like that.
This is a juicy one.
Yes.
So trade Justin Jefferson and Irving for Tyreek, Kupp, and Mixon. Whew.
It depends on what your record is. If you are 3-1 or 4-0, hell yes. If you are 1-3 or 0-4, no.
I like Bucky. Bucky about to take that job.
I believe Bucky is going to be taking that job. I mean, there's still going to be some kind of split, but Bucky does look like he's the better runner, obviously. Plus, he could be using the passing game. Justin Jefferson, though, dog. I mean,
is this redraft or dynasty
on your team?
This is a hard one. It's got to be redraft, right?
This is definitely redraft. So if Kupp, if he wasn't hurt and Mixon wasn't coming off of an injury and Tyreek still had his quarterback, that's a whole other conversation.
Right.
But right now, I think you should. I would.
Yeah, that's a tough one,
man.
JJ is such a difference maker, though, but so is Tyreek and Kupp. This is broken.
Like the person who's offering this trade must have a good record.
Right.
Or maybe they have a bad record. And they're trying to get wins now instead of waiting for Kupp and Mixon. So,
right.
I guess it depends on Mark what your record is. Like I said, if you can wait. Getting Tua back in the next couple of weeks with Kupp and Mixon healthy, if you can weather that storm, that's league winning potential with those 3 guys.
Something threw me for a loop the other day. It said he passed concussion protocol.
He's symptom free.
And then he went on IR. He's on IR now. That's 4 games.
Well, I think he's earliest eligible is week 8.
Okay. Like he passed protocol. I'm like, oh, I went to sleeper. Okay, cool. Wait, that says IR, not out. How is he passed and he's now on IR? That went from, why do you put him on IR if you can get him back in 2 weeks, even if it is 4 weeks? Oh, roster spot.
Yep,
for
and
us.
they also probably, from a pressure standpoint, didn't want him to feel like he had to rush back. So to
Yeah,
give him more.
optics. Because
Yep.
they did that last year or 2 years ago when he had they
Mhm.
put him right in. They got crucified for that. Can we say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
we
oh.
will get canceled for less around here.
Y'all passing on that trade, or are
I,
y'all?
I want
want
to
the
see my
JJ Irvin side.
roster. I want to see the record, but I kind of like that JJ side.
Yeah, I think I do too. Because you got to wait. What kind of production are you going to get out of Tyreek for the next 4 weeks? And then when's their bye?
People wanting to just bench him right now. So
Mixon has a bye. Everybody has a bye coming. Well, everybody but JJ. JJ's bye is this week, right?
No.
Next week? Yeah. Wait. Oh, I'm thinking Tennessee. That's Pollard, Spears. There's a lot of buys in the next 3 weeks. No. Yeah, Darnold is week 6. It's next week.
Week 6.
Yeah. I know, because I got so much Darnold. So yeah, I think you'll be done with JJ's bye. Tyreek's is week 10. Cup is like week 9 off my head. Yeah, I think I like the JJ side. He's such a difference maker. And what are you going to get for the next 4 weeks from Tyreek? What are you going to get? When you could be waiting for Tyreek and Cup for 4 more weeks. And I think Cup would be back in 2.
2-2.
Oh, here we go. We got some details. Thank you for that, Mark.
Harrison,
You're giving up.
Ebo, I like that.
He's giving up JJ and Bucky.
Ooh, that would give you some good depth. But you got McCaffrey, so you're willing to take on Tyreek and Cup. But you get Mixon. You need Mixon. Yeah, I see why I would do that. You need Mixon. And I'm reading that right? Because Stevenson ain't quite Stevenson, eh?
I mean, Donald's taking over, but
right, and you'll get Brooks.
Cowboys.
Oh, when everybody comes back, this team that's a nasty lineup.
I mean, Brooks is going to be putting up. So, I mean, if you could be starting Mixon and Brooks,
I just don't. At that point, it's going to be hard to figure out who to play. You might be too loaded.
And Chuba, it might delay Brooks a little. They need to put Bryce Young back in. They have no reason to win. They need to go ahead and pack it up, and they're about to do the wrong thing. They're going to put in a serviceable quarterback on a team that needs a lot of help.
Like
they're going to put out this running back that could be their future early, and the running back they're handing the ball off to just had a 100-yard game. This Brook thing may be a little cloudy. They may take their time.
You know what? I'm going to tell you to go to the Going for Two Discord. It's free. Put this in the trade section. Tag at Fantasy Coach, and we'll look into it a little more. And plus, you'll get a bunch of different other opinions.
Yeah, that's a good one. We're coming up on the end. We have the cheat of the weeks to go through. We have another question. Let's run through the cheat of the weeks real quick, and then we'll get to Slim Jim. Thank you for the question. Jamie, what is your cheat of the week?
Dude, I've been waiting to talk about this,
of course,
for a whole week.
Of course, you have.
Finally get to say it because I kept them in. But it's obviously Roschon Johnson. He was the biggest pickup last week, right? So he's probably not available in a lot of your leagues. But with this Swift big blow-up game, you're going to see him dropped. But he got that touchdown. He still got almost 40% of the snap share. So he is the handcuff. If something happens to Swift, or if they just go to Swift because he's looking better, because he is a better running back, pick up Roschon, stash him. I played him last week, even in my flex. He got me almost 10 points. I was happy with it, just because it's such a deep league. But if something happens to Swift, good Lord, like this dude will put up RB2 numbers for sure.
So, yes, pick him up just because, like we talked about with Swift earlier. But I don't know about these magnificent numbers Jamie is talking about. I just don't know about this offense. It's not about him personally. I just the offense in general and the way that they use the running back.
But if you look at his points per opportunity, he's like a top RB20. People, because I remember that because people were like, "Oh no, Herbert's over Roschon." I'm like, well, Herbert has been putting up running back 58 numbers and opportunities. Roschon's putting up top 20. Why wouldn't you give Roschon more opportunity? And that's exactly what they're doing now, is giving him more opportunity.
When we talk about targets, talent earns targets. Why isn't Roschon taking this job over? I'm a big Roschon fan from him playing quarterback in high school, from his pass blocking, him being behind Bijan Robinson, and I forget who else he was behind. But he's always
Bijan, that's it.
Yeah, I think he's gonna find his niche in this league. But if he's as talented as I believe he is, what's the problem? I think Swift is electric and explosive, but not as talented and as serviceable, no, as helpful to an NFL team as Roschon could be. But that could just be the fanboy in me.
Yeah, I mean, Roschon's a better pass blocker.
Yep.
He caught 4.
Pure runner.
Yeah, he
better
caught
vision.
4 last week. He
maybe not as good of a catcher.
I believe he was going into the rookie draft out of that whole class. He was RB4 in like breakaway runs or something like that, like tackles broken. So the dude can break tackles. He could break runs.
I like your next cheat of the week, Jordan. Give me 1 second. And this is in no representation of the amazing Discord that Jamie just brought up. One thing that attracted me to that Discord is I've been in several Discords, and when you get a large group of people passionate about what they love, there's a essence of a little hint of toxicity that creeps in with the numbers that grow. I have never seen anything offensive or any of that kind of behavior in the going for 2 discourse, and I'm in a lot of discourse, and I find that really impressive. So what I'm about to say is satire completely. We welcome everybody in, and it's just for entertainment purposes. But I will take my belt off and put you on timeout. If you ever come in chat with one of those kind of questions, I'm going to read it just for shots and giggles. But what I'm about to say is totally just for laughs. Should I accept Kate Otten and I want to make sure I'm reading this right. Should I accept Kate Otten for Malik Neighbors and Kyle Pitts? Straight question. I have Malik and Pitts, but I think Otten will have a great season personally. Now, I just wasted our time in us reading that. That was I read that right?
Yeah,
that's a troll question.
That's what it says, man.
It's definitely a troll question.
You're not a troll. Why don't you come on in the Discord and join the family? I gave you your 2 minutes of fame. Appreciate you for dropping the questions. Don't let that stop you from ever doing that again.
Don't get neighbors.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not even going to. I gave it energy, but I'm not answering that.
Wicks, man. Jamie talked about Wicks a lot. He said, during the draft season, take him late. And then if somebody gets injured, he's going to pop. Well, Christian Watson right on time as usual. Got hurt. Wasn't a hamstring this time. He got rolled up on really bad. It's like a freak type of tackle situation that happened. High ankle sprain, so he's gonna miss this week for sure. Likely longer. Wicks had 13 targets. You love to see it. I know they were trailing for a large portion of the game. They were down by 28, so they were throwing, but Jaden Reed seems like the guy right now with Jordan Love. That's not going anywhere. But Wicks seems like that second guy. He can make things happen. He only had 5 catches out of those 13 targets, so I'd like to see a higher catch rate. But, Love was his first game back, rusty. I think it's going to get better. Obviously, they like Wicks. They talked about him in camp. On a team that's going to throw the ball a lot, I want to get Wicks. I want to get him. If you don't already have him, try to scoop him up on the waiver wire, because I think he's got a chance to do some good things over the next few weeks. And then with Christian Watson's injury history, it could be a rest of the season type of situation. Because Watson hadn't looked good even when he was playing. Just Malik Willis was the quarterback for 2 games, so it's hard to get anything from there. But even in that first game, like he got the red zone target, Watson that was, but he only had like 2 catches and a touchdown. But yeah, go get Wicks. I think he'll be productive for the next few weeks for sure.
I think Christian Watson is a freaking glass house. He caught the MVS disease or something. I don't know what's going on there, but I agree with you. Go get Dontavian Wicks. He is him, according to the Green Bay Packers. And if Jordan Love is going to go out there and do his best Brett Favre impersonation, sign me up for all that pass volume. Jamie, how do you feel about Dontavian Wicks?
Man, okay, so I love Wicks. I drafted him in almost all of my dynasty leagues. Got him in like the 4th round or even off the waiver wires for free. I said that he's one of the better receivers that were taken in the late rounds. I just sold him today for a 2nd rounder in one of my leagues, but he's available on one of my listener leagues for the SGPN podcast. I'm 4-0, first place. And I'm just trying to figure out how much fab to put on him because I want him on my team. I have the option. I could drop Carson Steele or Isaiah Likely. Most likely, I'm going to drop Steele. I'm thinking like 25%. Should that do it, or should I just go all in?
I don't know about all in. 25% though, I think is a sufficient number.
All right.
You hate when you go all in and nobody else bids.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared of.
Being in first place, like I missed out on him. It's not the end of the world,
right?
But yeah, there's another guy on the waiver wire available. What's his name?
Roshan Johnson.
No,
Yeah.
the other guy from the Giants.
Wendell Robinson?
Wandale Robinson. And I'm like, I don't want Wandale Robinson on my team.
He's a good floor play. Good floor.
Like, I want Wicks. I don't want Wandale. So
Hey, no, that's crazy. You guys, if you guys are watching on YouTube, or if you guys are listening in the podcast form, wherever you guys are watching, go check. You never know if these people are available. I looked this morning and Kareem Hunt was available in one of 39 leagues. Unless something just told me to go look. You never know who's out there. So do yourself a favor and just go look, especially if you're in a lot of leagues. People get passed over. People assume, he's on the roster. Oh, I'm busy. Take the time, go look, see if they're out there.
And just from background, the only reason I did sell him for that second is because I am in a rebuild and I don't plan on winning for another year or two. So I want that 2nd rounder over Wicks.
I still think that's a good trade because we still got to deal with the volatility of there are a lot of good players on that team, and Watson's going to come back, but I think he's going to be always like a turnstile kind of player. He gets binged up. And he doesn't come back fast. So I don't know if that medical staff got all fired last year. I don't know if that was the staff that they all let go, but I like the call on Dontavian Wicks. I just think there may be some volatility.
Yeah,
because they got Dobbs, they got Reed, they got Wicks, they got weapons. There's also, before I go into our next cheat of the week, there's a wide receiver guru. I got to get his name. I first heard about him on Matt Waldman. Shout out to Matt Waldman's show because he was talking about how Jaden Reed worked out with him last year. You know who worked out with this wide receiver coach? I got to get his name because he has a son that's going as a 4-star recruit, plays quarterback. And we got to look up this guy. Because he worked with Yoshivash this last season. So the people that he works with shows immediate improvement. And there's some more names, but those are the 2 in the last year time that this wide receiver training coach has worked with, that the proof is in the pudding. Production is immediate after wide receivers work out with this guy. I'll get this guy's name to you guys soon. My next cheat of the week.
Real quick, before we get into the next one, the reason I sold Wicks for that second also is because I had Reed on that team. But as soon as I accepted that trade, someone threw me an offer for Reed, giving me T. Higgins and a 2025 first rounder and a super flex.
I'm taking that.
I was like, holy crap.
I'm taking that.
If I would have sold this, I wouldn't have sold Wicks. I would have kept Wicks and made this trade, but I made both of them.
Yeah. No, I saw all my read shares in the offseason, and I was just asking for a late first, early second. And then this morning, a guy says, "Hey, I'll give you a Olave and a second for a read." And I was like, that's probably what I'm asking for. I want a little more. He's the best player on my team. And he's like, "Hey, you'll make me do all the work." I went back and forth for a couple of hours. And I realized he wanted me to give up Reed in a second for Olave. I'm like, dude, we have wasted the last 4 hours because that's never happening. Thank you. This is why I don't get in these conversations. I was like, I knew that's what you were saying, but you made it seem one way. Oh, no, I want a second. I'm like, dude, that barely gets it done for me. I'm like, yeah, have a good one. Good luck with your Olave.
Reggie, what is our last cheat of the week, man?
Oh, thank you. Reggie happened. Miko Hartman. Miko Hartman. Why is everybody just like, no? I didn't brought up CH. I didn't brought up Miko Hartman. Yeah. I think you should pick him up, and he's definitely out there. What do you got to lose? You got an open roster spot. Go get him. Go get him.
Why would it be Hardman and not like Justin Watson?
We've done the two-step with Justin Watson, and in the Super Bowl,
Hardman, man, like
Miko Hardman made some plays. There was a 3-week span on the Jets last year. Miko Hardman was playable. I know we've done this before. I had a hard time coming up with a waiver wire, and I was like, I picked him up in a spot where I just had a empty spot, and he's one of those players like, if they let you put out people on IR. I'll put them and they come back and you have to get rid of somebody. He's one of those flexible pick up drop players for me. But I had to come up with something and hopefully it hits. Right. We know he's fast.
And then are also, oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, just like some of the other guys that we talked about earlier, like Josh Downs, if he's available, pick him up. This may hurt your edge, but like Tucker Kraft, I think he's
I pivoted already. He looked good. McLeod.
Yeah.
Was it a foreplay?
What's to say Sky
There's
Moore?
A couple of pieces out there.
Like Sky Moore. People already forgot about him.
I don't want no parts.
I don't want no parts.
I want Hardman more than Sky.
I don't want no Hardman either.
Yeah, right. You guys have a good one. I think we're coming up on. We got 4 more minutes left. Anybody in chat have any more questions? Appreciate everybody coming through. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to Slim Jim. You're still my guys. You my peeps. Any Jamie? You wanted to let everybody know where to find you at?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Twitter or what do you call it? X now. Keep it my name, Jamie Perogue. I also do the wide receiver versus cornerback article over at Fantasy Six Pack. I'm here with these guys every Tuesday doing a cheat sheet. And if you have any last minute start sit questions, check out our start sit show with me, Kyle, and Topher. We'll break it down and tell you who to start, who to not.
Yeah, catch me here on Tuesday nights. I love the trade questions. You guys keep them coming. It's crunch time, a lot of injuries, a lot of decisions to be made. So keep coming and checking us out on Tuesday night.
Yes. I actually went into the Discord to go talk about something. I was like, dude, you're going to talk about that tonight. I got to get in there more. Because anytime I want to go say something like, oh, that's material for tonight. So I got to do better with that. You guys can find us all in the Going for Two Discord. Check us out every Tuesday with the Fantasy Cheat Sheet. Next week, Drop the Mic FF will be joining us again for the Week 5 show. Everybody take care. And we catch you on the flip side, the coolest side of the pillow. Y'all stay amazing.